Nicole didn't cry when Andrew left her. She was supposed to. That's what the movies showed. The woman sits alone, mascara running, wine glass in hand, dramatic and destroyed. But Nicole just sat at the kitchen table for 2 hours, staring at the spot where he usually put his coffee mug. Her body felt hollow. Not sad exactly. Just absent. "I don't think I'm in love with you anymore," he'd said that morning, standing in their bedroom while she was still in bed, still half asleep. Like he'd already decided this in advance and was just delivering a memo. She asked the questions you're supposed to ask. "Is there someone else?" "No, not really." "Did I do something?" "You didn't do anything wrong." "Can we fix this?" "I don't think there's anything to fix. I don't feel it anymore." He left for work. She stayed in bed until 2 p.m. By the time it became real when he moved out 3 weeks later, Nicole had already started the mental work of erasing him. She took his clothes off her side of the closet, deleted the photos from her phone, unfollowed him on everything. It was efficient, methodical, the opposite of heartbreak, which is probably why it hurt so much. She wasn't falling apart. She was carefully dismantling, and that made it feel like the problem wasn't him leaving. It was that she'd let him in far enough to leave at all. Her friend Maya noticed first. "You're not okay," Maya said one Tuesday, watching Nicole pick at a salad while scrolling through her work email simultaneously. "I'm fine," Nicole said, which was the lie everyone accepts because the alternative, admitting you're crumbling, feels too indulgent. Maya didn't push. She just said, "You're allowed to not be fine." But Nicole wasn't sure that was true. Being fine meant you could handle things, meant you didn't need anyone, meant you wouldn't be blindsided again by someone deciding you weren't worth staying for. So she became a machine. Work became her religion. She arrived early, stayed late, took on projects no one asked her to take on. Her performance reviews glowed. Her paycheck grew. People started treating her differently, with the kind of respect reserved for people who were clearly going somewhere. She told herself this was progress, that she was building something. What she didn't admit was that she was building walls. By month 6, she hadn't been on a single date. By month 9, she'd stopped accepting invitations to go out. By month 12, she realized she couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed without thinking about whether it looked natural. Then came the gala. The Grand Lexington Ballroom on a Friday night was the kind of place designed to make you feel small. High ceilings, crystal everything, the kind of champagne that cost more than her monthly car payment. Everyone there had mastered the art of looking comfortable while being completely calculated. Nicole had too. She wore a midnight blue dress because it was elegant without trying. Her hair was swept up. Her makeup was flawless. She looked like a woman who had her life together, which was the whole point. She was networking near the bar when she saw him. Andrew. Older looking somehow. More polished. And next to him, a woman who looked like she'd been designed in a lab to be everything Nicole wasn't: taller, blonder, the kind of effortless beautiful that made regular pretty feel like a consolation prize. Nicole's stomach didn't drop. Her chest didn't tighten. Instead, something worse happened. She felt nothing, and then immediately felt guilty for feeling nothing, which was somehow more painful than actual pain. She turned away. But not fast enough. Their eyes met for 1 second. Just long enough for Andrew's face to register shock, then something like satisfaction. He'd wanted to see her, and he wanted to see if she was okay without him. She could feel them walking toward her. Feel the weight of that moment about to crash into her carefully constructed evening. Her instinct was to leave. Just turn and walk to the bathroom and hide until they passed. But then a man appeared beside her. He was tall, the kind of tall that made you immediately aware of how small you were. Dark suit, dark eyes. The sort of face that suggested he wasn't here to network, he was here because he owned something in this room and wanted to check on it. "This is going to sound strange," Nicole said, before her brain could catch up with her mouth, "but I'm going to need you to kiss me in about 5 seconds. He didn't ask why. He just looked at her, then at Andrew, then back at her, and something in his expression shifted. Like he was running calculations in his head. "Okay," he said simply. When their lips touched, it was nothing like the movies. It wasn't fireworks or destiny or any of the things she'd been waiting for. It was just warm and solid and real. And it was enough to make Andrew's face do the exact thing she'd been subconsciously hoping for: register shock and confusion. When she pulled away, the man was smiling slightly. "Your ex?" he asked. "Yeah." He looked like an idiot, the man said. "For what it's worth." His name was Lucas. He was a CEO. He was charming without being slick. And most importantly, he didn't ask a lot of questions about why she'd kissed him without permission. They talked for an hour. Not about Andrew, but about real things. About work, about the weird pressure of looking successful when you weren't sure you were. About the exhaustion of pretending to be fine all the time. "I should probably ask your real name instead of just the man I kissed," he said as the night was winding down. She laughed. Actually laughed. Not the practiced version she'd perfected. "Nicole. And for the record, I don't usually do that. Kiss strangers. Pretend to be okay when I'm not." He looked at her for a moment. Really looked at her. Not at her dress or her makeup or the carefully constructed version of herself she was presenting. At her. "You're better at it than most," he said. "But not good enough." Then he disappeared into the crowd. No number exchanged. No promises made. Just a man who had watched her entire performance and seen through it without judgment. She didn't expect to see him again. Monday morning, Lucas walked into her office building wearing the title of new CEO. Nicole's hands actually shook when she saw the announcement email. Not because he was her boss, though that was a problem, but because it meant the one person who had seen her real self was now in a position where she had to pretend all over again. He was professional. Distant, even. In meetings, he never looked at her longer than necessary. He didn't mention the gala. He didn't reference the kiss. It was like it had never happened, which somehow made it worse. The office, of course, had other ideas. Nicole was suddenly being pulled into strategy meetings. Asked her opinion in rooms where her opinion usually didn't matter. By week 3, it was clear that Lucas valued her work. Whether that was because she was actually good or because of what had happened between them, she couldn't tell. And that ambiguity became its own kind of torture. She started staying late, not because she had to, but because it was easier to work when the office was empty. When she didn't have to wonder if people were watching her, making assumptions about why the CEO kept seeking her input. One night, working alone on the 3rd floor, Lucas found her. "You're here late," he said, not as a question, just an observation. "So are you," she replied, not looking up from her screen. He was quiet for a moment. "I didn't ask for this to happen. You know that, right? Being your boss." Nicole finally looked at him. "Then why take the job?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he asked, "Why did you want me to kiss you?" "I already told you. My ex." "No," Lucas said, moving closer. "Why me?" There were other men in that room. Smarter choices. Safer choices. Why a complete stranger? Nicole set down her pen slowly. She'd asked herself this 100 times. The honest answer was sitting in her throat, heavy and true. "Because you were the only person in that room I didn't have to perform for yet." Lucas nodded like she'd confirmed something he already knew. He sat down in the chair across from her desk, the space between them suddenly feeling very small. "I came to this company because I saw your work before I knew your name," he said. "I looked at those pitch decks and saw someone who was building something real, not just climbing. Then I saw you at the gala, and you looked like you were drowning, but you were doing it quietly. Like no one was supposed to notice." "I'm fine," Nicole said automatically. "You're not," he said, not unkindly. "And that's okay. You don't have to be fine." Something in her cracked right then. Not dramatically. Just a small fracture in the wall she'd been building. "I'm tired of not being fine and having to hide it," she said quietly. Lucas leaned forward. Then stop hiding. I can't. You're my boss. I know. But that doesn't change what I feel. And there it was. The thing they'd both been dancing around. He wasn't just being nice. He wasn't just interested in her professionally. He actually saw her, and he actually wanted her anyway. This is a bad idea, Nicole said. Terrible idea, Lucas agreed. But ideas don't stop being true just because they're complicated. They didn't cross any lines that night. But they did have a conversation that went until 2 a.m. about heartbreak and ambition and the way people convince themselves that being productive is the same as being happy. By the time the sun came up, something had shifted. Not resolved, but shifted. Over the next few months, they developed a rhythm that was carefully, deliberately professional in public and quietly electric in private. Text messages at midnight. Coffee meetings that lasted longer than they should. Conversations that went deeper than they had any right to with a boss. Nicole would tell herself it had to stop. That the risk wasn't worth it. That she was repeating a pattern, letting someone in and then being devastated when it didn't work out. But here was the difference. Lucas never hid. He didn't pretend ambition was an excuse for emotional unavailability. When he had to prioritize work, he said so. When he cared about something, he showed up for it. He wasn't perfect, but he was present. And slowly, without Nicole fully realizing it, her anxiety began to shift. She stopped checking Andrew's social media. She started going out with friends again. She laughed without calculating whether it looked natural. Not because she'd found a man to fix her, but because somewhere along the way, she'd started fixing herself. And Lucas had just been there, not as a solution, but as someone who believed it was possible. One day, 3 months in, Nicole realized she wasn't waiting for him to leave anymore. She wasn't scanning for signs of abandonment or keeping one foot out the door emotionally. She was just there, present, vulnerable, and terrified, but willing to do it anyway. That night, at the second industry gala, Lucas asked if they should finally go public. People are going to talk, Nicole said. People always talk, Lucas replied. The question is whether we care more about their stories or our own. So they danced. A slow, deliberate dance in front of everyone. Not hidden, not defiant, just honest. And when he kissed her, really kissed her, with intention and in full view, it wasn't about showing Andrew or proving anything to the room. It was just two people who had both been alone for long enough, deciding to stop. 6 months later, they were sitting in Nicole's apartment on a regular Tuesday, eating takeout and watching something neither of them was really paying attention to. I thought being loved would fix me, Nicole said suddenly. Lucas set down his fork. And it didn't. I did. But having someone who loved me while I was fixing myself made it less terrifying. He reached over and squeezed her hand. The thing about real love, the kind that actually matters, is that it doesn't arrive as a dramatic rescue. It arrives as a choice. Every single day. To show up. To be honest. To believe that someone is worth staying for, even when they're broken or scared or figuring it out. It's not the story where the girl gets the guy and everything clicks into place. It's the story where the girl gets herself, and the guy is just lucky enough to get to stand beside her while she does. Nicole never did confront Andrew again. Never needed to. That version of herself, the one seeking validation from someone who'd already left, had finally, actually moved on. She didn't need him to see that she was thriving. She just needed to know it herself. That was the whole story. That was enough.